I got you, people. First it was China conflict, right? Then it was Russia conflict. Then it was Houthi conflict. The Hamas. Now it's Iran. What's going on? Every time they change from who we going at war and who we got conflict with, right? If you can't convince the other one, choose another one to, create conflict with. Find the weakest link and go after that one. But now they want to go after Iran, right? Just because Iran, I think, is helping his fellow man. So the United States don't like that, and they want to give them ultimatums. They think like Iran is hiding, nuclear weapons, nuclear arsenals, and they don't want Iran to use those things or have that capability. But come on, the United States has all kinds of stuff all over the world. We got bases all over the world. Russia has some, China has some, North Korea has some, and the European nation has some. So what's the problem? I don't think Iran is going to be stupid enough to use those things and try to deploy them or activate them and point them at another country to start a escalation of that type, So, and I don't think the United States even bother or nervous about that. They just want to make a point, I think, to the Middle East and all that region over there, that if you don't take what we say seriously, we're going to give you ultimatums or we're going to put you down. And that's what it looks like is happening. The United States telling another country what to do in their own country with their own weapons, with their own military, and what not to have and what to have and how to use it. That's the problem. But I don't think Iran doesn't even put us in any threat, in any danger. There's nothing that the Middle East has that's going to be a threat to the United States. Remember, that's not our first time that we've been to the Middle East and have bombarded the middle region. It's not our first time. Went through Iraq and Pakistan and all that, and we leveled that. And if we need to level Iran, it's going to happen. Rather, there's a threat or not, if the United States decides to deploy itself over there, Iran is going to be in a world of shit, like Donald Trump said, oh, hell is going to break out. That's what's going to happen to Iran and his people. We're going to level that country down. I don't know if they consider a country or a mass land. But thing is, we're going to level that. It's not going to be good for the Middle East, the Iranians, the Arab nation, nothing. But I also think that Israel is involved, and I think they want to make the Israeli state in charge of the whole region and command that whole region. I think so, because we've been at war with the Middle East so many times that, I don't understand why we keep on doing that. It's a country doesn't take our proposals, to trade or give us things that we need, and they don't agree. You can't just go to war just because of that. Every time somebody agrees with the United States or European nation, there's a war's gonna break out. Come on, be independent. Stop depending. That's the problem. Too many countries depend on another country to live. It shouldn't be like that. Before the world had known about so many countries out there, everybody was sustainable on their own. Nobody needed another country to continue living. But now it looks like everybody's depending on another country, right? Look at Africa. Thinking about Africa is so big, and it still doesn't have control of its own people. They got rivals in their own countries. They kill each other every day. And it looks like the world wants to let that, because most of those weapons that are in Africa come from the European nations. And you got people in Africa from the different states killing each other. There's always rebels or radicals fighting each other with the other state. You got people in their own country killing themselves. And that's why these other countries, foreign countries, go in there and exploit them and take advantage of that. Because there's got to be one person in charge. You cannot have all these states, and in every state there's a president. That's the problem with that stuff. And they're not all gonna agree. That's the conflict with that. I think there should be one president, and then you can have people governing the other states. Like in the United States, only one president, but you got mayors and governors and things like that, right? But too many presidents in a country is no good for the people and its decisions. Nobody's gonna agree and one person's decision. Not everybody's gonna agree and negotiations. So that's the problem. People gotta depend and be supplying themselves and manufacturing things that they need. And this tariff war, I think it's just like the COVID-19, right? Everything slowed down. A lot of people lost their job, and people still maintaining people lives. So I still think we still could live through these tariffs. It's just gonna take time till people start realizing, it's hurting everybody, and we should just get away with that, and we should start free trade. You cannot force somebody to buy a product just because other peoples are buying it. Our foreign countries buying it. We're not buying yours, maybe because your products doesn't meet the standards anymore. Your products are inferior now, right? Because before, the United States was on top of manufacturing, right? We have the motor industry. Everybody want to have motor parts from United States, cars, the best engines, mufflers, anything that had to do with cars came from the United States, Ford, Chevy. Now that is not. We kept the name, but everything that goes into these cars is all foreign. It's nothing is made for cars. Anything in your household is not made in America. America has lost its title in manufacturing. People just can't afford to start an assembly line and paying people the amount of wages that it needs to, so these people can make a living, and pay the bills. No person in their right mind is gonna open a business to satisfy somebody else's need, right? That's business to make business and make profit. You can't make profit as trying to make somebody else live while your business is struggling and you putting on your own money. So that's not gonna work. That's most likely nobody in America is gonna not open no manufacturing jobs unless the government of this country, United States, guarantee that citizens of this country could open up business and be in charge and how to pay. And the country's just gonna have to lower the cost of living or keep it the same way so as people can prosper. But that never happens. Cost of living keeps on going up. You pay for the same item, the same amount of quantity for more money, which just doesn't make no sense. If you're gonna pay more, the item should be with more quantity and things like that, not the same quantity for more money. You have to put more. And so that's never gonna work. And people think that if the prices go down when the crash happens, they get to buy. No, it's gonna happen the same thing. Prices was gonna go up sooner or later, and they're gonna continue going up, and you're never gonna reach the amount you want to prosper in life, because things just not gonna go down anytime soon, and they never will. Things go up, they never go down. But the quality of things always go down. Even though they go up, they don't last forever. They always go down and things change. That's part of life, and people understand that. They just gotta handle it and live. People live through a lot of things here throughout the world, not only in the U.S. and other countries, but everybody goes through economic crisis and and hardship. Everybody goes through that, and people manage still to live. Like our generation, our ancestors didn't have all this technology, and they managed to live. That's how we got here, right? It takes strength, physical strength, mental strength, to continue on living and keep on progressing in life. So you cannot force other people to think your way and take your ultimatum and force them to do your will only. It doesn't work like that. It's all kinds of people, and everybody thinks differently, and you gotta have to accept or try to, be content with everybody's decision and come to a solution that everybody could get along and everybody could live together. And with that, people, I'll let you go and you think about that. War is not the answer to everything. We don't need to go to war. We don't.